Well, it's November, and you know what that means. It's time for me to make a video about one very important topic: jerking it. You know, beating around the bush, hand-to-gland combat, bean flicking, jacking the beanstalk, nubbin rubbing, cleaning out the pipes, beating the meat, slapping your pappy, pud wrestling, petting the kitty. Has it been long enough where YouTube won't immediately demonetize me if I say the word masturbation? Probably not. Thanks once again to my patrons for sponsoring today's video, which will probably be demonetized. So previously, to celebrate No Nut November, I talked about the NoFap founder suing a pro-porn scientist for defamation. And then I talked about that pro-porn scientist turning around and threatening to sue me. And then finally, I dug into the research on whether or not you can improve your performance in sports by not masturbating. I actually wasn't planning to make another masturbation-related video for No Nut November this year, but then U.S. Republican Congress people went and made the Speaker of the House a guy who pays for a service that spies on everything he does online and sends screenshots of it to his son so that he's not tempted to watch pornography. And yeah, I am aware that that sentence was a lot, but don't worry, I'm going to very carefully unpack it for you in this video so that by the time we get to the end, you're going to wish that the Neanderthals had beaten the shit out of the Homo sapiens instead of fucking them, thus possibly populating the earth with a better kind of human. Okay, so here in the United States, we have two kinds of Republican. The old kind that hates poor people, gay people, trans people, and women, and quietly destroys democracy. And then the new kind that does all that, but they're very vocal about it. And these two groups have been butting heads a lot lately. And after a lot of back and forth over who would lead them in the House of Representatives, they finally settled on a man who is in the latter category, but who had the benefit of America not really knowing anything about him. Like, he even has the most forgettable man name of Mike Johnson. So they figured we wouldn't notice. And I mean, that was a good try, because there's a lot going on these days and it's really hard to notice every shitty thing that Republicans are doing right now. Luckily, some people did notice and they looked into who this guy is. And it turns out Mike Johnson is a straight up freak. As Amanda Marcotte pointed out last week in Salon, Johnson believes that dinosaurs and humans lived at the same time and that the dinosaurs were even on Noah's Ark. And he also believes that a cartoon starring Danny DeVito as the devil is clearly evil and serious eternal business. Presumably, it will send children to hell. As Marcotte summarized in another post, Johnson is a Christian nationalist who helped spearhead efforts to overturn the last presidential election, and he called same-sex marriage the dark harbinger of chaos and sexual anarchy that could doom even the strongest republic. So that's all just the preamble to the news that in a conference last year, Johnson sat on stage and said this.
With covenant eyes within your home. And so why is that such an effective tool? Why do parents need to put this into their home?
Yeah, that's great question. We probably could have called this more appropriately a war on the darkness of technology, because there are some good things with technology, of course. I mean, you know, the Bible apps we all love, we broadcast our services, you know, on our social media, and there's some very positive things, but there's also, as Clint's pointed out aptly, some really dark things. So Covenant Eyes is the software that we've been using a long time in our household. I first learned about it at, I think, a Promise Keepers event in the early 2000s. I think it was developed in about the year 2000. But it's the largest accountability software that there is, and there's some paperwork out there on the table that I think everybody may have picked up on the way in. If not, go get it. It's a subscription-based. I mean, we don't make any money on this. I'm telling you, we use it. Okay, I'm endorsing it because I'm a user. It's about $15 a month, $16 a month, something like that. And you get up to 10 devices. And what it is accountability software. So men in a church, you know, men's Bible study groups will do it. That's how it's presented at Promise Keepers. But they also mention, hey, when your kids become teenagers, especially if you have boys, dads, they're talking to the guys at this event, you might want to think about doing this with your sons. And so we've been doing that. And so what it does real simply is it has an algorithm and software. It's way above my head how it works, but it scans, you obviously opt into it, but it scans all the activity on your phone or your devices, your laptop, tablet, what have you. We do all of it. And then it sends a report to your accountability partner. So my accountability partner right now is Jack, my son, right? And so he's 17. So he and I get a report of all the things that are on our phones or all of our devices once a week. If anything objectionable comes up, your accountability partner gets an immediate notice. I'm proud to tell you my son he's got a clean slate, all right? Yeah. But we get a report and it says, hey, no activity of concern, and it's really sensitive. It'll pick up almost anything. It looks for keywords, search terms, and also images, and it will send your accountability partner a blurred picture of the image.
I bet Mike Johnson's teenage son just cannot wait to get his regular report of whether or not his father successfully completed a wank-free week. Just a totally normal father-son relationship, nothing else to see here. Covenant Eyes is in fact the exact same surveillance software that the Duggars used to try to stop Josh Duggar from viewing child sexual abuse material. Unfortunately, it didn't work because Josh Duggar just set up a partition on his hard drive and then continued looking at his disgusting illegal pedo shit there. What a waste of $15 a month, am I right? It almost seems like instead of Covenant Eyes being accountability software, it's actually a way for conservative Christians to give their families a false sense of security while they continue to do hypocritical or even immoral, deranged, and illegal things in private online. Just a thought. It's worth noting that Covenant Eyes doesn't just detect illegal pornography, and it doesn't even just detect pornography in general. A Wired piece from last year revealed that Covenant Eyes is also used by homophobic churches to aid in gay conversion therapy, with one man reporting that the service sent his church leaders an alert because he had searched #gay on a social media platform. Another person who used a similar program said the service told her accountability partners, in this case, her parents and her pastor, this was a minor, that she had looked up atheism on Wikipedia. She told Wired that the apps are not just about pornography, but about making you conform to what your pastor wants. Wired also found that Covenant Eyes and similar services collect an absolutely terrifying amount of information about its users. Unless, of course, the users know how to make a partition on their hard drive. But many users are, like Johnson's son, under the age of 18, and the apps are collecting and storing not only everything they do on their phone and their computer, but in some cases, they're collecting information like when they last masturbated. All of this brings me back to another video I made about NoFap back in 2021, in which I point out that while NoFap and No Nut November attract a lot of atheist Redditors, research shows that they are by and large just useful idiots for the Christian right. Instead of masturbating and pornography being ungodly, these people use pseudoscience to claim that those things are bad for individuals and for society, and that giving up masturbation can literally give them superpowers. Despite that faction, the research shows that nearly all anti-porn activists are biblical literalists, like Mike Johnson, who adopt the veneer of science to achieve their true goal of codifying their own religious shame into law. So that's what you can expect from the new Republican leadership, including the guy who is now second in line for the presidency. Not just homophobia and transphobia, not just outlawing women's bodily autonomy, and not even just outlawing pornography, but the forcing on all Americans a fundamentalist biblical lifestyle based on shame and disgust. The exact lifestyle that gave the world Josh Duggar. Don't like it? Vote out the Republicans. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you think the world could use more videos like this and you happen to have a few bucks laying around, head to patreon.com/Rebecca and join an awesome community of nerds like the people whose names you see on the screen right now. Thanks.